I think filmmaking is a very isolated profession, but we're lucky enough to have a group of people and all of us complement one another with whatever skills we bring to the table. They're like the most special thing I have outside of my family, probably. Ultimately, it's me and my boys on Discord, just messaging each other and working through projects together, you know. Honestly, the idea of the premiere was something that we had from the very beginning. The biggest honor I've ever had in my life is being the inspiration for someone else. And that's like the essence of it. That's one thing I'm pretty proud of myself, is being vocal about my dreams. And it's a very, I guess, shameful thing for a lot of people.
I've been tired. Andrew?
Look, we can meet more often. That's worked so far, right?
I think I'd like to request this. I saw that it's in its final stage of testing. I've seen ads about it all around New York, and well, I was surprised that they...
Pill isn't perfect, Dylan.
What do you mean?
Jordi Stephenson is a New York-based designer, filmmaker, and producer. He grew up in Raleigh, North Carolina, and graduated from NC State in 2023. Today, he's the founder of Core One Studios, a production company he established with his childhood friends back in 2019. Jordi directed his first short film, Are You Here?, in 2024, and later produced a second short film, Afloat, which recently played in a sold-out premiere and awaits a digital release on December 19th this year. Today, I present to you Jordi Stephenson. Jordi recently produced Afloat, and it's a short film you saw from the start all the way to the premiere. Why is it important that a filmmaker takes their short film all the way from the start to a premiere?
There's so many reasons, but I mean, to me, what's the point of making movies if it's not to show other people, you know, especially in an environment like that. If you're making a film, a narrative thing like that, you know, to have people in a room together, to exhibit it to a bunch of eyes and to have a bunch of eyes on it and to see people's reactions, you know, you really get the full essence of what it is to make a film. You know, you get of course, seeing the movie, but also what it might mean for other people. And yeah, there's so much, it makes it so much more special than to just put something out on YouTube and then move on to the next thing. And especially nowadays with fast content and all these other things happening, right?
Yeah, I mean, let's just dive into that because, you know, as filmmakers, I don't know if we really talk about these kinds of things that much and just the meaning behind it. But, you know, I've screened my films in the past, and I've screened it to audiences who don't know me or don't know what the film is about before watching it. And it is kind of like a magical experience, right? Because you witness them reacting to your film in real time. You hear sighs, you hear gasps.
Yeah.
You know, you see people getting bored, and it's like, it's very vulnerable.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah, you learn more about your movie when you see other people watching your movie and honestly coming up with their own movie in their head as they're watching it. Because like, there's so many times you'll watch an audience watch a film and you'll see them react in a way that you never thought of. Like, why was that scene funny? Like, I didn't write, that wasn't supposed to be, or this, and no one's laughing at that joke. Oh my God. Of course, hopefully you have time in the edit room, you know, with your collaborators to, you know, pick those things up beforehand, but it's always so interesting seeing it happen in the room.
Yeah, and it's a little scary too, because you're like, maybe my work is going to get ripped to shreds.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah. I mean, on low-key, sometimes I hope that that's what happens, because I go up on such a high horse in there. Like, I've got, like, oh, who's this kid putting his movie in a theater? And he's got, like, people like, what is this? You know, but I think the movie's good, or else I wouldn't be showing it in this thing. So part of me, I kind of think, you know, I know that people are going to say what they liked about it, because it's a celebratory event, a premiere. What is not good about it? Like, no one's ever going to tell you that on the day. It's funny, even recently with Afloat, like, we had so much praise and so much compliments at the premiere, but it wasn't until the day after when my parents told me, they were like, like this part, maybe not, maybe I don't really like that. So, I mean, that to me is fruitful in all aspects.
Yeah, I mean, tell me more about like that experience. What you organized the event, and what was it like to be the one that produced it, the film, produced the event, and now you're in the audience and you're hearing it.
It's funny, when we watched the movie, I was in the very back And I was like, I stood up the whole movie. I just stood up and watched everyone watching. Because it's funny, I didn't see those faces, but I could see their heads and I could see like if they weren't paying attention, and everyone's, heads locked in.
And to set the location, you were in North Carolina.
Yeah, so this is a North Carolina film. This is in Chapel Hill. It's funny, we're a bunch of NC State students or alumni, but for one other reason had to premiere it in a theater in Chapel Hill at UNC.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, the idea of the premiere was something that we had from the very beginning. Like with us making a movie was with the intention of showing it to an audience like that.
Yeah.
Which is not necessarily the case for a lot of short films. Like let's say, something that's 5 to 12 minutes that you'd see at a film festival or whatever. The films that we've done in the past 2 years now have been both close to 30 minutes. So it's kind of an odd thing. It's like, what do you do with this? Do you just put it on YouTube? Do you put it on Instagram? Do you just do film festivals? What do you do? And so with our first film, we had the idea of let's show it in a theater to people. It's, I think, a big enough commitment where people would want to go, and we'll make an event out of it. We'll have merchandise, and we'll do a Q&A, and we'll do these like giveaways, or we'll do this community event or whatever, and we'll make it a whole thing. And that was like from the very beginning. We were like, okay, let's make a movie with that in mind. And then the second one came around as a result of the first one premiering.
Gotcha.
And Tay coming up to me and being like, dude, I can't believe you got this many people in the theater. Like, I want to do this too.
Yeah, I want to dive into kind of the production behind, or the story behind, Afloat and how it all got made. But before we get to that, I mean, do you want to just talk about kind of like, did you feel any sort of serendipitous moment, watching Afloat? Did you feel sort of like, damn, like I made it, this is the second film, like it's in front of people's eyeballs, and there's people are consuming and trying to interpret this film. Like, what was that feeling like?
Well, it's funny because the first one I directed, and the second one I produced. So it was not necessarily my film, even though we're there like every step of the way. What I really felt most was pride for our director, Tay, and for the whole crew and for everyone in the process. Because like I had that experience and I knew how special it was for me. And to watch someone else go through that and to realize the effect that that's going to have on him going in the future is like, man, I just was I was kind of envious, but I was very like just prideful. I was like, man, this is I'm so happy for him. Yeah.
I talked to Tay and he just talked about how overwhelmed he was, and just like so many people and people he knew, right? And it's like you're trying to greet everybody, and it sounds.
What's also funny is the people you don't know. That's crazy. I remember when we had our first premiere in 2024. It was April 20th, 2024, and that was our first showing. And then we had a showing a week after that, and then another one a week after that. We had 3. But our first one, people kept coming into the theater, and I was like, I don't know you, but you're here for my movie. Like, what is this? And they're like, oh, and they had known me or something, and they knew the movie. They knew someone in the cast or whatever, or in the crew. And that's like, it's just so crazy. You on Instagram, you have multiple people that you don't know see your stuff.
That's true.
But to see that in person, it's just like watching like the view count on a post, but in real life, and you see faces, and it's just compounds.
And sometimes those people walk up to you and say something, about the film, and it's like usually a very like, gratifying moment, and they say something positive or something you don't expect, and you're like, wow, this like film, although it's not like your masterpiece or it hasn't reached so many eyeballs, it made an impact on someone's, life today.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, that is what I hope all of my movies do is affect people in some way. And honestly, they ended up touching people in ways that I hadn't even imagined. That's to me is even the beauty of what movies can do. Is of course you have the emotions or you have the message that you're trying to talk about, but inevitably people will come up with their own way to interpret it. And so when people communicate that back to you, it kind of flips the whole thing on its head, and it's so special. Especially when people tell you that they're inspired. That to me is even better than maybe what they thought of the movie. Is when you doing something pushes someone else to go and make their thing. And I think this is in my speech to Tay, but if it's out there in the world, it's like the biggest honor I've ever had in my life is being the inspiration for someone else. And I hope today, I think I'm going to recite it. I hope today, if anything, that this movie does the exact same thing. It inspires one of you in the crowd to go and to do your own thing and that's what this is really about.
Yeah.
And that's like the essence of it. It's like, I'm going to get a bunch of people in the theater, and hopefully someone else will walk out and want to go also make a movie in this day and age when apparently film is dying and whatever the hell.
Yeah.
People want to go make stuff and show it to people in that kind of environment.
Yeah, and to dig even deeper, it's like you're motivating them to just express themselves, to just like tell a story. And that's like you're making them become vulnerable to the world, which is obviously like harsh and cruel and doesn't favor the vulnerable people. But that's what's great about it.
Yeah, I remember with this one, I don't know why I keep talking about our first movie, but Are You Here was the first one we did, and I remember people coming up to me and being like crying and telling me that they were sorry for me because of the story that cause it was a personal story.
Yeah, and
they were just like, I can't believe you did that, and it inspired me that someone would go up and be that vulnerable in front of 200 people.
Yeah,
like, what are you doing? What are you doing? But that's the magic of it.
Yeah. So let's dive into the production. What was like, so Tay came up to you, wanted to make a film. What was the story from there? Yeah,
so the story is after Are You Here finished, people were coming up and talking to us. They were telling us what they thought. They were, telling us what was funny, telling us what was not good about. Nobody told us what was not good about the movie, but I could tell. They were, sticking around and telling us what they thought about it. And Tay stuck around till the very end, and he came up to us and he told me how special it was that we were able to get that many people together in a room and to exhibit a thing like that. Not only exhibit a thing, but to actually make something. How do you even get a group of people in North Carolina? It's not like the film capital of the world. It's not LA. There's not people running around making movies everywhere. How do you get this thing to happen? He was just impressed by that. And he told me, he was like, man, this makes me feel like I need to go do my movie. Not that he had a movie in mind at the time, but he was like, he felt the need to go and to do something. So of course I'm honored. Like if anything, that's what I want the movie to do. And so from then he went in and started working on a script. I told him, I was like, yeah, when you got a story, like, come let me know, we'll talk about how to make it happen. And then when he was taking a screenwriting class in August, he came to me and he was like, I'm going to use this class as an excuse to come up with a story that I can make a film out of. And it's kind of funny. The screenwriting professor who was teaching the class ended up being in the movie.
Yeah, that's right.
As the doctor figure, which is really funny. But yeah, the first script he gave us, it was an interesting idea, and I could get what he was trying to talk to, but it was a little bit too direct as far as like, this is what I want people to feel, and this and that. And so Kunal and I, my roommate and my partner in crime with everything, just told Tay like, hey, look, let's take some time to work on the script. Let's make it, even better than what it is now. This has a lot of potential. And in that process is when I brought in Rob and Jake and the idea of Core One producing this thing, with the event that the story would of course improve and meet the criteria that we have for greenlighting something. So then from there. Yeah, once the film got greenlit and you guys like, this is the script we're going with, what was the production process like? Yeah, I gotta remember. So it was like August was when we started writing the script, and then maybe October, November is probably around a year ago now. When we moved, he was working on the script. He actually came up to New York. He visited us. We had just moved in November, and he visited us, and he had a script in mind, and Kunal had a version. We were just bouncing ideas off. And once we got it greenlit with the boys, we were like, okay, this is a thing that we're going to do. We were actually deciding whether or not we were going to give money to this thing. I don't know if I should talk about this at all, but whether we should give money to this thing or if it was purely just going to be a participatory thing. Okay, we'll work with you and we'll make a team to make this thing happen. But we'll find a way to get money elsewhere if it's not something that we're making. From then, it was really just finding out locations and knocking down shoot dates and then casting. I think that was the other thing that was kind of funny because I, of course, live in New York. This film is in North Carolina, and there's a bunch of stuff that happens I have to be remote for. And so that was one of those things I kind of stepped off, and the rest of the guys took care of the casting process, and I was in the middle doing some other stuff. But it was very on and off about my hands-on experience because, of course, of being away. But throughout the entire process, I was involved in one way or another, whether I was remote or I was in person. Yeah. And what was like the process of casting, finding the actors, getting the locations, and then finally scheduling out the dates? Like how quickly did that happen? So the logistical stuff, I think, Jake and Rob definitely took lead on, and I'm pretty sure their way of doing things is really, okay, what's what do we have? You know, a big part about
That's
producing
right.
is resource management and realizing, okay, this is what we have access to. We were able to work with NC State communications department, so there's a bunch of gear available. Tay was in school at the time, so or was just a fresh alumni, either one, and had the ability to use this stuff. So we're like, okay, that's an option that we can pull from. We have a bunch of friends that have apartments in North Carolina. The story needs a beach. Okay, great. It's like a 3-hour drive. We can just take a couple days. We can do that. There's a diner scene. Okay, let's go ask the local Waffle House, and they'll let us, do it. A lot of this was very, you just ask people, try to figure it out. Who's got this? Who's got that? How can we make this happen? Who's got this camera for this situation?
Yeah.
And really just asking around and trying to get that happen.
What was the biggest challenge when it came to producing the film? And like, is there a story of like some shit goes down and like I have to fix it last minute, that kind of thing?
Oh man, I don't know. I think the biggest challenge for us actually was on set, and this is a big lesson for me because of course, this is not a film I was directing. I was producing it, so it's actually on us that this happened. But pre-lights and having a day to prep and make sure that everything's good before shooting. If you have the opportunity to spend a day before shooting to go and set the scene up and figure out your lighting setup, do a tech scout, do all this kind of stuff, and realize what you have to work with, would be very advantageous. And us not doing that, resulted in us wasting a lot of time on set because they'd have to figure out lighting and this and that. But mostly, I think it was the fact that we had 2 DPs. This is a big, this is a big thing, actually. We had 2 DPs. Daniel, our original DP, was set to do the film, but then during one of our shoot days, I think he got caught up because he had some paid gig that, you can't refuse, right? In this world where people aren't getting paid for every single thing they do, there's a lot of favors. You got to respect when there is money involved in something. And so that came up, and so we were like, all right, well, we got to shift, we got to adapt, we got to figure something out. And so I think he recommended Joseph, or the other guy that came in, who ended up being the first AC or second AC on the other shoots. But yeah, the first shoot of the movie was not our original DP, and so none of the lights were planned out. We kind of had to just get some stuff together and figure it out. I think it ended up working really well. Like the film looks as good as we could have hoped for. But I would say having a solid, like really really close knit crew that's I guess you could say above the line, like really the people that have agency and all the creative decisions, to really be in it and care about it. I understand, of course, of not being able to do everything, but that was a hump for us for sure.
Yeah. How did you? Because I think I remember, maybe I'm wrong, but you crowdfunded part of the movie or most of the movie. Like, how did you get the funding for the film?
Yeah. So this is I guess in the beginning when we were the conversation of whether Core One would give money and fund the thing or finance it, or if we were just going to be involved in, organizing all the production. And then, of course, doing the premiere and everything was the money. And so we had agreed not to initially fund the idea, but that I believed in Tay enough to let's do this thing, whether there's money or not. Let's make it happen. And of course, there got to be money from somewhere. So it was Tay's idea to do some crowdfunding. So all right, let's do it. If you need my help, let me know. I'm here. Yeah. He actually did a lot of the crowdfunding stuff himself. He went in, Seed and Spark was a website he used, and he went in and he made all the deliverables that you needed. You have to you have a video that pitches the film. You got to give people a reason to donate, and set up the incentives and all that kind of stuff. And then that's when I started working on the design for the movie. Yeah. So along with the production, I did the kind of the creative direction for the movie. So doing all the posters, the logos, the graphic design, the identity of it. And so that's when I got to realize, okay, what does this thing look like in the end? Okay, when there's a film, when there's a poster, what does it look like outside of the MP4, for say? And so, we came up with an initial logo that we were working with, and then we ended up going a different route in the end. That one I think is a bit more thematic, but yeah.
So, I guess a good way to describe this film production that was very scrappy, right? Like you guys were resourceful, and how big was the budget at the end of the day?
So we actually raised $2,500.
Okay, so it's not that big.
No, I mean, in the days where people were raising $20K for stuff, and there was really not that much.
And how long were the shoot days? Or how many shoot days were there? Sorry.
Let's see. We had 1, 2. We had 3 or 4 like actual shoot weekends, and then there were many other times where Tay went with Colin, with the lead actor, and got some inserts or some pickups. And spent the day with him. So I mean, it was spanned many months, but there was 3 or 4 big shoots, and I was on one weekend. I was there for like 4 or 5 of the locations that we had.
The reason why I kind of am interested in breaking this down is for people who want to make their short films. Like, it's good to have an understanding about how other people are funding it, and most people like us, our friends are working for free, and what we really have to pay for is gear rentals. And crafty and props, and potentially like transportation, mileage, that kind of thing. So, you said 4 weekends and maybe, 10 plus shooting days, then I guess, like, 4 weekends. 2,500, I think it's drained pretty quick once you have like a decent sized crew and you want to light it and everything.
Yeah. I don't have a huge understanding of how the budget was broke down, but yeah, I mean, it definitely went towards gear, and I'm not even sure if it went to food because maybe some of the food stuff was favors. There's a lot of favors.
I remember Tay bringing like some food from a restaurant or his girlfriend brought food from a restaurant. It was really good, by the way.
Good. Yeah, she was the caterer. Kayla, shout out.
Yeah. What kept you motivated through this process, like the entire thing? Because you were there from day one to the end. Was it the idea of just like, Tay's an inspired filmmaker, I want to help this guy out?
Yeah, I mean, I'm blown away by his visual taste and his eye for what's interesting, and I also just want to see a movie happen. I love film, and I love the power that it has to affect people, And so when we greenlit, okay, this is the second film that Corwin is doing, then it's boots in the ground. Like, all right, let's make this happen. Like it almost takes up a part of your heart, and you want to keep feeding it and giving it attention. I think a big part of it was definitely how much trust I had in Tay, and that I wanted to see his dream come to life, and how important it was for me to have that happen a year before, and that it was kind of my duty to do that for other people. If someone comes to you with an idea, and
will you say that you were successful in that?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's funny. I don't know if I've ever looked back and thought about whether the film was a success or not, because it always just exceeds expectations. Yeah. So now that I'm thinking about it, it's very successful. It was the fact that we even got people in the theater is incredible, and that we got eyes on it, and that people go up to Tay and they tell him what they thought. That's incredible. It's like I didn't even think. After the movie played and I did my like end speech to bring Tay up on stage, I had people wanting to do interviews. And then in the middle of that interview, I had someone else tapping my shoulder, like, you ready to do an interview? I'm like, I'm in the middle of this interview. I'm like, what? I'm doing interviews now for short films in North Carolina? Like, are you kidding me? So I guess you could say that that's a measure of success, but really without all of that, the fact that there's a film, that there's, a message, a story, a whole thing, there's a premiere, there's this entity that's bigger than just one person, then that's
And I'm sure it feels also like an upward trajectory, because this film was probably like production wise and just every part of the process was an improvement compared to your first one.
Sure. Yeah, the first one was definitely a bit more scrappy. We spent more money on the first one, that's for sure. For sure. But we realized, okay, this is where money goes for locations, this is where money goes for this is where money goes for that. And so we were way more economical on this one, absolutely, even if it was kind of scrappy in ways. And I think the end result, to me, is just more impressive. Like this movie is like the quality, the cinematography is there, the message is deeper, even dialogue. Like, of course, I wrote the first one. I'm not, Quentin Tarantino. I'm not like a big dialogue buff. I'm not the best writer in the world. So when Tay had Kunal's help in getting some of the dialogue stuff figured out, of course it's gonna be better. Like, yeah.
What's the next project?
The next one is, well, it's funny. So we actually, it's definitely a pivot from what we've done in the past. So we've got 2 movies that are 30 minutes long, odd time to program for a film festival. So what do? You keep doing these things and you keep doing these premieres. The premiere is a very special event that we've been doing that I'm super proud of, and I don't want to stop it. But we do want to pivot a little bit. So I think now I've been telling people this, and now it's like I have to like stick to it. But instead of doing one film in 1 year, we're going to do 4 films in the next year.
Wow.
And they're each going to be between, you know, like I said, the original like 5 to 12 minutes shorts that are in and out, and as much as we can help it about characters and how they feel and the human condition and what our views on the world are and everything. But try to do 4 of those in 1 year and exhibit that as a sort of anthology. Like this is a set of 4 films that may be in the same universe, talking about the same thing. They're all in New York or whatever. But have that and then premiere that as a end product instead of, you know, because I think, you know, premiering an 8-minute movie, like what is that? Like we even had thoughts like, are people going to show out to watch a 30-minute movie at a theater? Like that's kind of ridiculous. Like what are we going to, so we have to.
So now you have 4 and now.
So we have 4. So now it's back to back to back to back. You get this kind of short story thing. You can think of Kinds of Kindness. It was a recent movie that came out that was these 3 movies in one. And so it'll probably be something like that, but that's kind of the next one. The next one's it's called Adam and Key. And it's an 11-minute sweetheart about 2 brothers going over forgiveness after one blinds the other. Yeah. So you can imagine the tragedy of doing something that so awful to someone that you love and what comes after that.
I'm excited. I want to see it. I think this is just a great, like, you know, testament to, as a filmmaker, you know, you got to make films, and each one is going to be an improvement. Like you're going to learn something. Like you're not going to learn nothing. You're going to learn something. And so the more you make, eventually you're going to get to a place you want to be or better, you know? Yeah.
It's funny to look back and realize the things I'm proud of the first film and the things that I look back and I'm like, damn, like I could have done that so much better if it was today. Like, what? Oh man, you know, so I mean, like, of course I don't want to remake Are You Here? And I don't want to remake Afloat. They're there and they're done, but the next film will be better. And it's funny, me and Kunal were talking about this recently, is like, it's funny being a filmmaker and having films that you have ahead of you, because I know that my potential and my ability as a filmmaker is way better than what I have to show. So I might have a reel or I might have an Instagram page that tells people what I'm good at or what I'm into. Yeah. And that doesn't show anything about what, you know, mentally I have in my head or the confidence I have in the next thing I'm going to do, or my dreams or aspirations, or even just the story, you know, what the filmmaker I could be if I had actually done all the things that I wanted to do. So being able to actually see out the next thing and get closer to your realized potential and to be able to prove that to people and say, hey, look, like, this is how good I am, and this is, you know, how good I'm going to be, or whatever, is amazing.
Yeah. I want to dive into Core One now, because, you know, we've already had this conversation, you've already mentioned them, but they are an important group for you. Yeah. And I think it says something deeper also about, you know, the importance of having, you know, friends, you know, as a filmmaker, to just be there and, you know, be a part of your filmmaking career. Just talk about Core One and like who they are, like what does it mean to you?
Yeah. So Core One Studios is I guess my production company. It's also kind of a brand that we run, but it's this thing I started in high school, and I didn't really know what it was at the beginning. It was my kind of excuse to start a clothing brand, and it was like just a label that I was throwing on things. We did these hoodies and we did these clothing drops and these collections, and it ended up, of course, starting out with me and like 5 other dudes, my closest friends. I had this dream of like having a brand or whatever. And I liked filmmaking and I liked doing photography and I wanted to make clothes. And so this was kind of the amalgamation of all of that. But now as it's progressed and what it has come to now, I kind of realized in the process of us making movies that it's really the brand represents a broader purpose than just being something that people look at. And hopefully our brand purpose and our vision is to bring people together, you know, to inspire human connection through stories that challenge our perspectives on the world. And there's so many things going on now that confirm your beliefs about things, and there's confirmation bias, and there's easy content to watch. And I think the best things are things that make us consider the world a little bit differently, and that's you know how special travel is, right? But so Core One is a brand as much as it is a group of people, a company, a production company, a creative studio. Yeah.
I just want to dive into. I just want to learn more about like the beginnings, because it's literally just you and your friends in high school. Like, how long ago was high school? Like, look back at
It's
it.
2019. So I'm 23 right now. So that was
It's been a minute. It's
4
been a
years.
minute.
Yeah. So, wait. No,
It's not been 4 years. It's
a long time.
it's been 6 years at least, right? Because you started high school.
Oh, it's 2025. I'm 23. It's 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah, March 2019. Yeah.
You
Yeah,
graduated in
it's-
2019.
I graduated high school in 2020.
Oh, in 2020. Okay.
Yeah, so I was one of the
Yeah.
people that got kicked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you started high school 9 years ago, basically.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, was that kind of when it all started?
Yeah. I think I've always been into making stuff and like having my
Yeah.
own persona, and there's Life of Jordi, and there's even my name's Jordan, but I go by Jordi because that's just like, oh, it's cute or whatever.
Yeah.
And so there's always been this kind of thing to have something bigger than myself. And I remember watching Casey Neistat, and which is why I moved to New York. Like, look, I'm here, I'm at the spot. But I remember watching him and Devin Graham and all these dudes that are making videos. And on top of film, there was always this entrepreneurial aspect to it, and that always kind of interested me. And it's, instead of working for someone else or whatever, is find out opportunities to impact the world and really see that through. And so, of course, in high school, I'm not looking at how to disrupt the market or whatever, or like what is the opportunity for a business thing is. I'm just like, oh, I want to have my stake. So there's always been that, like, I want to make something that's bigger than me, that lives longer. And, the Wikipedia page would end up having 7 more chapters than mine would or something, just something that's like, what is my impact on the world? And so this Core One thing came up as a sort of outlet for all the things I was interested in. And somehow or another, I got the faith and loyalty of my closest friends to get together and to like just make a company.
Yeah. I mean, talk about your friends. Like, I want to learn more about the guys who were at the beginning.
Yeah. So the first big name would be Jake. K. Jacob Facio is his IMDb. That's his producer thing. But yeah, Jake's my boy. Jake started out as a new person in high school. I think he moved from like Ohio or something, and he was talking to me and telling me that he was so good at Fortnite and this and that. I was like, what are you
Classic.
Shut up, dude. What are you talking about? And that he had Illustrator and then he could like do graphics or whatever. I was like, okay, well then let's I have this clothing brand idea. Like, let's put him to the test, like see what he's got. So then I think he just gained my trust through loyalty and faith and his willingness to figure stuff out with me, more so than his proven ability at like, a creative act or whatever. Yeah. And so from then we just kind of built a partnership, and I don't even know if I was looking for a partner at the time. It was just like, I have ideas for stuff. Do you want to do them together? And he was like, oh, sure, And so I had that. And then after we had made a couple videos, we'd done some client projects and, did some clothing drops and everything. People came in and out from Core One here and there, but, Jake was definitely my right-hand man throughout the entire process. In college, we met Rob, who was our other guy. He's an engineer and he's super like logically minded. He's almost, I don't want to call him a pessimist, but he's very realism. He's very realistic when it comes to things. Like, let's consider what the impact of this, and is this a good idea, whatever. So he kind of keeps us in check. I think Jake's a big dreamer like I am, and Rob really held us grounded. We met him, I think I was playing Siege. I was big into esports in college, and I think he we're texting the group chat, and he was like, anybody play Siege? And I was like, oh yeah, like me too. It was in the dorm group chat. I think
was this
like
during COVID?
People. Yeah.
Okay.
It was about, we hadn't even moved in yet. And so when I moved into college, I had one friend, and it was the guy I had met online playing video games. Yeah. And so we were in the same dorm, and then from there, I think me and Jake were just playing games with him, and he just had ideas. He just had stuff to say about Core One. I was telling him what we were doing, and he was like, oh, that's like, what about, you guys think about this? Like, this is, there's so many cool things you could do with this and that. And I think he saw some potential or something in me that he wanted to just really help out. And so from there, Jake and I looked at it and was like, okay, maybe this is our third guy. This is what makes it a bit more complete. And then here we are. Now we've got, I guess, our fourth and kind of odd member would be Kunal. Kunal's my roommate and like I said earlier, my partner in crime and all this kind of stuff. He's kind of oddball because he's not necessarily involved in the business aspect of things. Core One is separated into different ventures. There's a way for us to make money. There's a way for us to spend money, and our spending is on making movies and doing these
but
whatevers. But
at its core, Core One is like your friends, right? It's just like the dudes you like to make stuff with. Right?
Yeah, that's really what it is. Like ultimately, it's me and my boys on Discord or on Instagram or on iMessage, like just messaging each other and working through projects together. You know, on the outside, I really try to make it not look like it's just a group of people because I had, if it was a clique, if it was like here's this group of guys that are doing something. It would seem kind of hard for other people. I think it would just appear kind of cliquey. And I remember even in the beginning, Rob was telling us like, hey, like how do we brand Core One? And he had these ideas about it being like, oh, there's 3 guys and there's this and this and this. And I'm like, no, like I want this thing to be bigger than me. Like it's not, hopefully it's 50 people in 7 years. Like, it is ultimately the people involved. And I think that's the case for really anything ever. But on a brand level and on a I guess a visual kind of like how would I interface with this thing on Instagram or how would I come in contact with it, I wanted it to appear as another entity so that people have the ability to look at it and maybe want to reach out or feel like they could be a part of the thing or have, you know, they could dream about their influence and not be shrouded by their inability to join because it's just a group of people that are, you know.
But these guys like Rob, you know, Jake, Kunal, like how do you think they have impacted you as a filmmaker? Do you think you'd be the same filmmaker or person even that you are today without these guys?
Dude, no, they're like the most special thing I have outside of my family, probably. There's I think filmmaking is a very isolated profession. It's a hobby that a lot of people take on, and it's kind of singular. You know, it's you and your camera in the beginning, and there's not much of a like. There's a collaborative aspect to it, but it's almost not the synthesis of the thing. And so a lot of people consider their journeys on a personal level, where okay, I need to go find gigs where I can go on and be this person. But we're lucky enough to have a group of people that it is a group. It's a collective. It's a bigger thing than just one person. So whenever there's an idea that comes across, there's no question who's going to be involved or how do I get people for this thing. It's no, we're in this together. How do we figure this thing out? And all of us complement one another with whatever skills we bring to the table. And I think it's a rare thing, especially like I said, today's world where a lot of it's kind of isolating and people feel like I need to be the one editing and shooting and blah, blah, blah. Cause I know I feel that way. I'm very like, okay, I don't really trust anybody. I just want to do it all.
I mean, to get into it, it's like, you know, it's an industry where you don't have like, you know, unlike being, you know, a researcher, a doctor, you know, a lawyer, you don't have credentials. That's not really a thing in filmmaking. And so the way that you get trust from people is by working with them and just seeing if you literally work well together. And it's only over time that you get that trust. And so that's why it's like a very isolating thing, because most people don't have that time to be with the same person over and over and over again and develop with them. And so this is a topic I want to dive into because, you know, I really think it's undervalued for a lot of filmmakers, and especially with, you know, Gen Z filmmakers and new filmmakers. It's, you know, with the internet, it's really easy to be separated and like isolated, and, you know, more than ever today, like people are just feel more alone. And so as a filmmaker, I think, you know, older filmmakers say the same thing, and I think it's exacerbated. It's exacerbated for younger filmmakers. And so I want to learn more, just like how have these guys really impacted you, and could you even like find those people on purpose, or is it all on accident?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that it's definitely on accident. They've impacted me in more ways than I can say, and it's funny because it's not. I didn't go looking for these people. I didn't go looking for, okay, I need to have a group of guys. Like I need like a film phase clan or something. Like, I'm not, you know, I'm not looking for
phase film house.
Something.
Film house,
and I mean, I think those kind of things exist now. Like this creator camp. I don't know if that's exactly what it is, but there's these group of people that are working on films together, and that's awesome. But I mean, I definitely was not looking for that in the beginning, and I don't think you can go out looking for. I mean, you can, but that's not what I did, and I know it's resulted in a lot stronger of a connection that I have with them, because we're not like in it for a specific agenda, like, oh, I need to work with these people so that I can have a chance to work on this gig. It's like, no, I care about these people deeply, and we are all in it for each other.
Yeah. Would you say you kind of all found each other, you know, at parts of your life where one person or both people were not a filmmaker?
Dude, neither. That's so funny. I don't know how this happened. Neither Jake or Rob were super into film.
Yeah.
When we first started talking, and Kunal, like when I first met Kunal, I met Kunal in Greece on a study abroad thing.
How long ago was that?
This was in 2022. So this is
that's recent.
3. Yeah. I met Kunal and we bonded over philosophy, and I think with Jake we got along over entrepreneurship, and with Rob we got along over problem solving.
Yeah.
Because we're playing video games together.
Yeah.
And so everyone's got their own way of what they offer to this thing, but yeah, I mean, it's. What was your question? I'm trying to think.
If you bonded with these guys, or if you became friends with them, met them, like when you were not a filmmaker, and I think the answer is that you weren't.
So Jake, of course, wasn't into cameras, and I mean, he like that. So I had this dream, and I just shared it with him, and eventually my dream became his dream, and. I don't know if Rob has the same dream. He's kind of a wild card in that aspect. I mean, he's definitely along with it and with us for us. But Kunal actively tells me about his dream of filmmaking, and somehow or another, I've gotten these 4 guys to be on this journey of film together, and everyone be really optimistic and headstrong about it. I don't know. I had no agenda. I had no way of like, oh, I got to convince 4 guys to like join this thing and become filmmakers. Like, no, like this. I'm lucky. I'm probably the luckiest. Yeah, I'm just incredibly lucky to have this.
Maybe
thing.
It's something about. You know, you talked about how you wanted to help Tay because you inspired him. Maybe it's something in the same line, where it's like you want to inspire these guys to like,
dude,
or just in the conversation, you inspire people to like follow their dreams.
Yeah,
and somehow like movies are always such a separated thing, but you're able to bridge that gap.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing I'm pretty proud of myself, is being vocal about my dreams, and it's a very I guess shameful thing for a lot of people, because it's out there. Like for me to say I want to be an astronaut, or I want to be a filmmaker, or I want to, have the best beekeeping business in North Carolina, whatever, is an outrageous thing to say to a lot of people, but not to me. Like, I don't give a shit. This is what I think, and that's what I want to do. Yeah. And whatever it takes, I mean, I find my way. I slack some days or not, but like ultimately this is what I want to do. So for me to be proud of that, I think a lot of people attach themselves to like, oh, that's crazy. That guy like is thinking that or whatever. And so, you get on to it. And for me to see that effect had happened on Tay, and then for Tay to want to go and make a movie, I was like, I owe it to Tay to go along and be in this process with him. Cause like I would have done anything to have that in my life. Like all my mentors have been stolen. I've kind of just like cheated my way into listening to people that I care about and taking their advice on the internet or I never had anyone that was close to me.
I think that's a very relatable situation for a lot of people these days, because like I swear to God, all the filmmakers I meet our age, like YouTube University, man. Yeah, that's where it's all at. But keep going.
Yeah, no, it's that. It's YouTube, and it's just like figuring your way out. And so to have someone close to teach you the ropes or to show you the stuff, and I'm honored to be that for Tay, and then that's really what it is. Like, it's funny, people were asking me at the movie, like, so what did you do? Like, what was your role? Like, how do I explain this?
Explain producing.
Yeah, and it's funny because I don't even know if it was just producing, and the executive producer role is just, we try to avoid it because there's just oh, this guy gave him a bunch of money and then didn't do shit or whatever. He said he had some ideas that he wanted in the movie. It's like, no, like Tay texted me personally about every single creative decision he was making, and he was like, what should we do here? How do I do this? Everything was with me. And so it's like, we're kind of partners in this thing, and I was with them along the whole way. And I don't want to say this thing wouldn't have happened without me, but I'm very happy that I was in the process, and I know that it was better because I was there. And it was, I felt honored to be there with him to make it happen.
Yeah. So I think we've, established that, having a strong network of just friends, is beneficial as a filmmaker. Do you think there is a solution for filmmakers out there that feel like they don't have that core group?
I mean, it's funny because I maybe I just spend too much time like being grateful for what I have and using it to the best of my ability and not losing the chance. And now that I have people to work with, I'm not thinking about what it would be like if I didn't. And so it's hard for me to say, you know, I as much as I want to say, oh, you got to go find your people, I don't even know if that's fair because that's not what I did.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately it's above all, like, I could say anything, and the lowest level of asking why to that question would lead to just being really clear about what you want to do. And if you have a dream, to realize that thing and to realize what the steps are that are ahead of you and in between that dream happening. And if there are people that are going to be along the journey and that are going to let you get there, they're going to be on there with you. Yeah. If people see a boat walking or not walking, if people see a boat coasting down the river and they're drowning,
they're gonna hop on the boat.
I want to get on. Like there's a freaking boat. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, yes.
That's true. That's very true.
So be the boat.
Yeah. No, I think
don't look for crew members. Be the boat.
I think that's a great message to honestly end on, because like I agree. I think it's really hard to just get that grip. I just moved to New York, and also like a lot of people have said that like it takes like 2 years or more to get like fully situated.
Wait, really? Okay, good. Because I'm in my first year too, and I'm starting to feel I don't know.
Yeah,
you know?
So it takes a long time. Just moving to a new place, getting fully comfortable there, and having your people. And so, as a filmmaker, if you feel like you don't have that, it's not gonna be there like tomorrow, and it's gonna take time. And I think it's only going to happen if you keep, like you said, following your journey and just knowing what you want, and the people that are going to be there will be there eventually.
Yeah. There's two parts to the thing. There's realizing that you can do this thing without anybody, and realizing that when you do need other people, to let them in on your boat, and to realize that it's going to be better with collaboration.
Yeah. Dude, thanks, Jordi. This is a great conversation. Good shit. Thank you for being on the podcast. Thank you so much for your time. It was great.
Dude, thank you for having me. Hopefully I can be back in the future when you've got like 50 more episodes out or something.
Yeah, no. We'll bring you back. Once we reach 50, we'll bring you back. 52.
52? All right. Yeah. Thank you so much, dude.